Now let's see open URL redirection through parameters in the action. So here we have the redirect payloads that we just did in the previous lecture. So these are the payloads that has the path fragments. So simply we just injected this payload at the end of the URL to see if it has open URL redirection or not. So this was the one payload, but now we don't want this, we just want to see the parameters. So it should be inside the URL. So we'll just search for some of these parameter like URL, return URL, next, or basically URL, and again it has only the URL. You can see for the redirect, you can see out, you can also see for view and everything. So you can see for this login too. So we'll now go to this website, and I've already started to just crawl this website, and I have just got few of these parameters. You can see the method over here, parameters, and the status code and the length. So I've just sorted out, and if you see here that in this link over here, this is the get method and this is the link. So this link has the account, login, and the return URL. So I've already said in the previous couple of lectures that anything that starts with this question mark is a parameter, and if the parameters is something like return URL or page and something like that, that means it is just redirecting to somewhere. So we'll just search for the new redirection. So in order to do that, you have to first send this to the repeater. So I'll just send this to the repeater and just go over here in this return URL, and now I'll just edit to the bing.com or maybe something else. So let me say http bing.com. So this is the way. So let me just go the response and see if this works or not. So I think this is not working, but let's see. Let's go over here, let's paste this down, and it is not working. So it is saying that it is not redirecting us to bing.com. This is also the return URL, but this is not redirecting. So let's see what happened over here. So instead of return URL, what you can do is simply you can put something like test, and you can simply send this to the intruder. Go to the intruder and go to the positions. Let me clear all of this position first, and let me select this test, add here the payload. So let me just load the open payload that we just loaded in the previous lecture. So let me just start the attack. It is working. So let me just wait for a moment. It is working with the sum of these all the payload, which is 462 payloads. So meanwhile, you can see we have this the return URL, which was the URL or basically the parameters of this URL where you can inject this payload. So it can be something like URL. If you have something like URL, you can also have something like view. If you just get any parameters like this, then you can simply see by injecting some other website and see if this works or not. So in this case, we have a return URL. So let's go to the website again, and it has finished. So let's first of all make a descending order of this length. Let's see if this is working or not. So I'll just say a response in the browser. Let me paste in go, and it is not working. It is not redirecting to anywhere. That means this return URL parameter is not vulnerable. So you can just simply see for the another payload too, but I'm not wasting for any time. So you can see that we have a query even, so you can search for the query, but instead of query, I'll go for another websites. So I'll just go for this website. So you can see we have this website, so platform innovation, because this website is not having open URL redirection vulnerability. So we just close this website. Now it's time to check for this website. So I've already spidered this host, and I have here that is added to the scope. So we have a bunch of URL here. So you can see the return to URL is over here. So return to URL is also the parameter that will just give you a redirection. So let's see if this does or not. So you can simply send this to the repeater, go to the repeater, and instead of this manual page, I'll simply say http, give the colon, and I'll say google.com. Let me just press go, and show response in the browser. Let's see if this works or not. So I'll just paste it down here, and let me just close this and see. Let's see what happens. So it has redirect to google.com. So if you see over here, so it was something that return to was taking us somewhere. Let me just go to the target, and it was taking us to the index.php file. So instead of index.php, now we have injected our URL. So when I just say try again, and if I just close this sign button, so this is essential, because if you just close this one, then only it is redirecting. So if I just say index or something like index.php, and if I just close this one, then it is only redirecting to index.php. Now you'll just get the home page of Nokia Innovation. So that means it has a URL redirection through this return to. So you can simply check for these of this field. So it has also the service ID. So this is not going to give us a URL redirection. You have to search for some of these fields like return to and basically return URL or something like that. So this will be the lecture. So you can see the another parameter over here. So let me just try this one. So if I simply, first of all, I need to send to the repeater. So I think this is not going to work, even because we have seen for the login it was not working already. So it is the not good way to just see for this one. So you can search for the XSS attack instead of this URL redirection. You can simply put your own very much text or strings over here and check if this is showing any repetition on the repeater by seeing the response, and if it is, then you can simply just put the payload from the intruder, the list of the payload, which can be basically the XSS payload, and you can simply see if that payload works or not. So this is the way to work with the URL redirection. So we'll see more of these example in the upcoming lecture. So see you in the next one.